Welcome, welcome, welcome. Week 7. I'm Diego Davis. I'm just welcoming you to the podcast. Got a couple things to say, but I also have to bring my lovely guest, Danielle Doyle.
I'm your guest now.
Shit!
I was just telling Diego before I'm his I'm his guest.
Gone on the road solo and rogue. Listen.
Yeah, he's taking this show on his own. But yeah, welcome guys. We're happy you're here. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next Tuesday. Hit the bell, hit the like button. Tell your friends. We're the most awesome, wonderful nurse-owned agency in the entire world.
That's right. Tell your friends, your grandma, your mom, everybody, your sisters.
Your dog.
Like your link below. Yeah, seriously. You might get some free stuff too.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Like us on Facebook. Like us on Instagram too, or whatever you guys do on there. We're not necessarily on Twitter yet tweeting, but that's coming.
I've been tweeting, man. I tweeted a couple years ago.
Yeah, one tweet doesn't count.
I got to get our Twitter game up, so that's next.
But yeah, we're here. We're happy you're here. We have an awesome guest for you guys to enjoy today. His name is Jared Brown. He is a financial advisor. He's our insurance guy. He knows all of the ins and outs of the industry. And you're going to get a lot of value today in that he can tell you how to manage your future, manage your finances, save for retirement, and just, prepare you for what's to come as we are in these uncertain and unprecedented times in America.
Definitely. He's been an integral part in my past too. If you don't understand basically short-term insurance versus long-term insurance, he can tell you about that. Especially being a nurse, if you lose your income, God forbid, for COVID or, even like a back issue, a lot of times if you get paid by the state, you're going to make $600 to $1,000 a week. Jared's got a plan where you can pay $400 or $500 a month, depending on like your age and status. You can pay 80% of your paycheck, which is a no-brainer. If you get hurt, you're the main support of your family. It's something very valuable to kind of understand. But we got like a lot of wonderful news for Access Healthcare as well. We want to talk to you about a couple things. Danielle has been leading this thing, NurseFly.
Yeah, NurseFly. We launched NurseFly this past week, and it has been absolutely outrageous. We've always said that we were the highest paying agency, and now we know that it's true because on NurseFly, you can see comparatively where everybody stands. It's kind of like Match.com, or more so Kayak. Like when you're going on vacation, you can see which vacation costs the most or the least. And we are always coming in at least $300 above other agencies. So yeah, it's really exciting to see. We're getting a lot of applicants, turning a lot of people, submitting a lot of people and getting a lot of acceptances. So our team is going to be rapidly growing in the next couple of months. And it's just definitely welcomed because we want everybody on board. We want everyone to know that, we're your family. This is where you belong. We created this agency for you. So now's your time to see it, share it, and join us.
Yeah, it really, people have to understand how things work in the business world. If you go with a bigger agency, they're going to have a lot of recruiters, a lot of advertising, and all the money that they take from basically is from the nurse on the front line or the medical professional. A company like ours basically pays you back. That's why you're making $300 or $400 more a week. That's honestly $1,200 to $1,300 a month. That's like 2 car payments, working for a company like ours. And we actually put a lot of care into our, our nurses. We have a lot of wonderful things that we do, like a gift box when you enter our company, and a lot of cool things that are coming out, like this little bracelet, which is not a whole big thing, but we have a lot of pen lights. We have a store coming out as well. So we just want you to be a part of our adventure and our story. We're kind of like the underdog that's coming up in the world. And we think we are the next big thing. We just want you to join alongside us and tell everybody about it. And we have referral bonuses for like $1,000, $1,500 per nurse. So yeah, please take a part and look at our website.
Yeah, definitely. Check us out on accesshealthcarestaffing.com. Lots of exciting things coming up this year. But let's get Jared. He's patiently waiting for us in the wings. There he is.
What's up, Jared? What's going on, man?
How are you?
How you doing?
Doing all right. Is this thing live?
Yeah, we're pretty live.
Here we
Not
are.
live yet, actually. This is recorded, but I think we're going to be going live in the next couple of weeks. So
Very exciting stuff.
Good. Always looking good. Were you working from home still?
I am still working from home. It's been 3.5 months. God, I can't wait to get back out there on the road.
Hey, I bet you know what I love about Zoom? You're so serious up top, but you probably don't have any pants on, right?
My wife about that the other day. I said, wouldn't that be funny if somebody was dressed to the nines to the top and had nothing on down below? And then all of a sudden a person gets up and walks away.
Yeah.
That Zoom call, maybe we could put that, add it into the video. They were having a 9-person Zoom call, and the girl didn't realize she went to the bathroom. And I was actually with her computer in the bathroom as everybody was watching. She forgot to have a live Zoom call. This is the funniest thing.
Oh, God, that is too much.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Last minute, but we just want to talk about like things, medical professionals, basically how you can prepare them for their future. God forbid they get sick, they get hurt, or financially planning for them. I mean, we are in a time right now, especially with COVID, that are a lot of uncertainty stuff. But I guess let me begin by like maybe asking you, what started you, like what's the name of your business and what do you do and how you got there basically?
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, I've been in the business for about 16 years. The name of my agency is Strategic Wealth Resources. And I guess, what kind of got me going and as a financial advisor back in the day, it was more of a personal story. It had to do with family. And, a lot of people, they don't teach a lot of the stuff in school. At least they didn't when I was in school. You graduate, you get started. You don't know, what's up versus what's down. Where do you start paying bills? What's most important? What do you need to kind of put in place for your family when you're just getting going? What can wait? Everybody wants to invest your money and make $1 million. What's most important? For me, just coming out of college over 16 years ago was, I guess it was a little eye-opening. I ended up helping my brother-in-law out and doing a deal with family, and that can be difficult, mixing business with family, I found. And what I can say is, it has taught me the importance of making sure that you have a financial plan, that you're just not trying to wing it, and I guess, in today's day, people are making some good money for those of us that are still fortunate to be able to, have a job and bring in income for their families. It's a matter of, are you budgeting? Are you saving in the right places? Just because you might be bringing in some good income now, you don't want to just blow it. You need to make sure that you're putting it in the right places so that way for your future, that you have money to fall back on. If there's, God forbid, some kind of an emergency, or your car has issues, or eventually life passes you by and you're ready to retire. Have you saved anything? So those are kind of, I would imagine, some of the cornerstones to financial planning and the things that are important you really need to kind of think about. For me, for most of my clients, what I have tried to ingrain in their mind is that the cornerstone for all financial planning is to make sure that you have protection for you and your family. Yeah. Investing, there's always time to invest. There's always another dollar to be made. But if something comes up in the meantime, if you've got, a little one that depends on you, or a spouse, if something happens to you or you get hurt or worse, where does it leave everybody else? You don't want to leave everybody up a creek without a paddle. So as long as you have a sound financial plan in place to protect your income, disability insurance, or having a certain amount of life insurance in place to protect your family, very important steps. Once you kind of secured your financial stability, and you also have money in the bank in case of emergencies, then we can start talking about investing. I mean, everybody wants to make a buck. Everybody wants to make more money, and we've certainly seen in this year, there's been a lot of volatility out there with the market, but where there comes volatility, there also comes, the promise and the ability to have gain and to make some good money. So there's been some good times, good strategies for people to invest long term also.
Yeah, that's amazing. I remember our conversation several years back, Danielle. One of the best things that Jared ever taught me is basically, like you said, get your nest egg ready, protect yourself with insurance, and then from there we can invest your money. And that's what I did, and that's what I'm going to go back to. But do you have a couple questions for Jared, like products and stuff that he can give to people?
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested, since we just went through this crisis and we're still in the midst of it, Jared, what would you say to our nurses about how much should they have saved? Some people say 3 months, some people say 6 months. What's a good amount or a good time frame of money to have set aside in case, God forbid, you lose your job or something happens?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. It's a little bit of a loaded question. There isn't like a right amount or a right answer for anybody. Everybody's different. It really depends on your unique situation. I would say, that 3 months to 6 months is a very safe amount. That's kind of the rule of thumb that most people will kind of plan, set aside if God forbid there's a what if, type of scenario. But sometimes it's not enough for some people. I mean, I've got clients, they tell me, look, when it comes to emergencies, Jared, I want to have 100 grand saved in the bank. Personally, I think that they're out of their mind, and I tell them that. Because here's the thing, when it comes to having money in the bank, everybody needs to have the amount that they feel comfortable keeping in case of emergencies. But once you get past that amount, every other dollar that's left in your bank account is just, it's like a waste. And the reason why I say it's a waste is because inflation averages 2 to 3%. Okay, so if you're not even getting 2 to 3% from the money you have in the bank, technically your value of your money is depreciating, it's going down every year. So you're technically losing money. There are some great savings vehicles that are out there. Money markets. There's so many money markets out there that you can open up now that'll give you a 2% or even higher interest rate. And that's still liquid money that you can keep in the bank. CD rates are still really low. Maybe for tying your money for 5 years, you can get like 3.5%, which I think is crazy. But my point is that everybody should have kind of like a bucket strategy. Okay, you should have a certain amount of money that's literally sitting in the bank, even if it's not even earning anything, just because you know that if you can access it, it's there for you. You can walk down the street, you can make a phone call and have that money sent to you right away. But anything over and above that amount that you feel comfortable in case of emergencies, it should be sitting there. You should put the work. There's a lot of different types of conservative investments that are completely liquid and accessible that you can get your hands on. But you can set things up in a bucket strategy. One type of investment may be much more conservative than the next. And then in the longer term, the last bucket that you're ever going to, try to tackle to take money out of. So does that answer your question? I don't know. There isn't like a right specific amount, for each person.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's different. And then that brings me to my next question about retirement. Growing up, I heard, I once upon a time, I thought $1 million was enough, but people are living longer. People are retiring later, but I'm hoping I don't retire that late. So what should people plan for in regards to retirement? How much should they be putting aside every week? And what do you think is going to be the key number when we reach retirement age?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting question. So there's different stages in people's lives. Right now we're in the accumulation stage, and the idea is to, put away as much as you can while still, living a comfortable lifestyle for yourself, but not squandering it constantly. If you're making extra money, put some of it aside. Once you get past the accumulation stage, you really get into the distribution stage of your life. And this is really important because there's different components to make up the distribution phase. There's going to be things like Social Security, God willing, okay? If you have a pension on top of that, 2 forms of guaranteed streams of income that are coming through. And then the last, piece is going to be, whatever you put away for yourself as a supplemental. You know, just to give you some rough guidelines, I think that for most people don't have traditional pensions to kind of fall back on, you know, like what our parents and our parents had. Pensions are really becoming a thing of the past. And so it's even more important why you need to be putting away money for yourself in the different types of financial vehicles, different investments, you know, things like 401ks or IRAs or Roth IRAs, you know, different types of investment vehicles that allow you to grow and accumulate money on a tax-favored basis. Rule of thumb is, you know, for every $1 million, you can actually take a safe rate of withdrawal of 3.5% to 4%. We're talking about maybe $40,000 of income. Okay, so depending on what, to answer your question specifically, depending on what you're envisioning your lifestyle to look like, okay, let's say, you know, you're going to get maybe $25,000 a year from Social Security. Let's say that you really don't have a pension per se, but you know, you're accumulating money inside of your investment accounts. Well, if you have $1 million in your investment account, you're getting $25,000 from Social Security. Just those two pieces, you're talking about maybe around $65,000 a year, right? Is that going to be enough? For me, it's not. You know, I think.
What are you eating, Jared?
The number is really, Diego's like, I'm ready to go. I think that $1 million number that people used to refer to is really maybe more if you had a traditional pension in place also, because now we're starting to add up all the different money, right? Now it's like, okay, I can get $30,000 from my pension. I can get, you know, $25,000, $30,000 from Social Security. That's 60. And then if I have $1 million investment portfolio, it's another 40 grand. Now we're talking about $100,000 a year. You know, so I think today's day, I think you really need more than $1 million to retire, unless you've got pensions and everything that are coming into play. One thing also I'll point out has to do with Social Security. Social Security, this is an extremely important piece to somebody's overall retirement. So here's what I mean. The average person, when it comes to taking Social Security, they'll take Social Security at the earliest possible time they can, at 62. I bet you guys didn't realize if you take Social Security at 62 at the earliest, you're only getting 75% of the amount that you're supposed to, as if you were to wait until your full retirement age at 66 and a half. Okay. If you waited until your full retirement age, you're getting 100%. But for every year that you postpone it, so if you're still working, bringing in part-time income and doing everything, you postpone taking Social Security until 70, your increase of income goes up by 8% per year. So by the time you get to age 70, you're actually talking about taking a total of 135% max income. And so what a lot of people will do is they will help use some of their investment accounts to bridge the gap and kind of push off taking Social Security until later, because you can get that guaranteed stream of income at that highest possible payment. The reason why that's so important, especially if you have a married couple, you want to defer the highest wage earner Social Security until the latest possible point. And the reason being is because in a married couple, when the first spouse passes away, the smaller of the two Social Security payments is going to get lost. So you're going to get a huge amount of income that's no longer coming to you anymore. The remaining spouse will get the higher of the two payments.
Wow.
The highest wage earner defers taking their payments. Not only will they get more income for themselves when they do eventually start taking it, but that also means for their beneficiaries, the surviving spouse will continue to get a highest payment for the rest of their life as well.
Wow. How about if you marry a young woman, just make her work harder?
Diego, you got a lot of really great ideas, buddy. I don't know. We'll see how it works.
Now, for real though, does the amount that does Social Security take into consideration the amount that you had saved for retirement? Like, do they decrease the amount that you would get based on how much you have put aside?
It has nothing to do with how much you have put aside. Whether you have 500,000 or 5 million put aside, it makes literally no difference for Social Security. The difference for Social Security is if you are claiming Social Security while you have earned income, there's a certain amount of Social Security that's taxable. Mm-hmm. So you get to a point where, you know, if you're still earning, even on a part-time basis, and you have a certain amount of income that's coming in, it doesn't make sense to take Social Security because you got a huge portion of that that becomes taxable. You want to defer that. But once the time comes when you're ready to throw in the towel and you're not going to be working anymore, and hopefully, you know, the higher the two spouses have deferred taking their Social Security till later, at that point, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you have saved and accumulated in your different retirement vehicles or even in non-retirement accounts, you're bringing in all this money, all this income that's coming in. Social Security is independent. They're not saying, oh, you know, you've got $5 million set aside, so we're not going to give you Social Security. We're only going to give you a tiny, minute portion of Social Security. No, it has nothing to do with that. Social Security is all based on the amount of the time that you've put into the system that you've been paying your taxes. And once you have a certain amount of quarters that are recorded, it's going to pay you your Social Security benefit that you're eligible for.
Wow. That's amazing. I always thought, is it time for Social Security or how much you made each year? Did they do that in a whole equation or?
Yeah, it's really, you know, it's based on your taxable income. So every year when you pay taxes and they're recording, you know, how much your year-end taxable income was, they have a log basically. And you know, there's a certain amount of consecutive quarters of income that you have logged in. And once you have met that, you're eligible for Social Security. You can also go on to, here's actually something that's good. You know, unless you are over the age of 60 now, your Social Security statements that they used to mail to you, they stopped doing those to save money. What you can do is you can go to ssa.gov and you can register if you've never done that, and you can look to see what your estimated Social Security is going to look like, just in the system so far. After the age of 60, they start sending those out to you in the mail again. Okay, so you know it'll be more like in your face, like here's what the stuff really looks like.
So it's ssa.gov. We'll put that link on our link below, so just to make sure you know. That's amazing. That's a great service. But what do you have in your future coming up, man? Like you have just different projects. Anything going on that you want to plug up, or any products you think would be beneficial to like nurses out there or medical professionals?
And you know, I wouldn't say projects per se, but as far as different products, different things that I think would be important for people to look into. First and foremost, you know, again, we talked about the cornerstone of everybody's financial plan should be based on insurance. Okay. And it's not because I'm an insurance salesman. I do everything. I'm a comprehensive financial planner. I do the whole deal. It's, if you're working now, whether you're married or not, you have bills. Everybody's got bills, right? If something happens and you get hurt and you can't pay your bills, what happens? You keep getting bills. Pay for it now. So what do? Everybody should have some kind of a form of income replacement. Income insurance. That's disability insurance. Very important. Disability insurance is very important. Short-term disability is something that will help you for the first 6 months or so. It's long-term disability, though, is the most important. I'll kind of tell you, you know, personal experience. I remember growing up, my father had a very good disability policy through work. He had a pinched nerve in his leg, and he was in so much pain, he was on painkillers. He couldn't practice medicine anymore. If it wasn't for the disability insurance that he had through his employer, he would have been screwed. He was forced to retire basically at 55 because he could not work, taking all the painkillers and you know, doing what he had to do. He had a disability policy that was paying him $10,000 a month. If he didn't have that, he would have screwed himself. Because of disability insurance, he was able to go out at 55, still bring in that income so he can keep on paying his bills and expenses. Then he turns 65, you know, 66, he's eligible for Social Security. The disability stops, and now Social Security and everything else begins, right? So he's able to kind of transition more into retirement. But can you imagine for a second, you know, in today's day, if you don't have a way to protect your income and something happens and you get hurt, I mean, what are you going to do?
That's scary.
You live with mom and dad, like those keep happening. They keep coming, you know, so what's the plan? Yeah. It's scary. So disability insurance, I think, is really important. And the other thing is life insurance. You know, you don't have to get hurt. I mean, a lot of times things, you know, even worse things can happen. You could pass away. If you've got a wife, if you got kids, if you got a spouse, and you got people that are depending on you, parents even, you know, something happens to you, is everybody else going to be okay? Are they going to be able to stay in your home? Or are they going to have to, you know, board things up, sell it at a crazy discount because they got to get out of there because they can't afford the lifestyle now and move back into mom and dad again, or something different, right? So make sure that, you know, you can take care of the mortgage or send the kids to school, or that, you know, everything that you spoke about with your spouse can kind of continue on, and that the plans that you guys put in place don't just have to stop because you're not in the picture anymore. I think insurance is really important, you know, and there's lots of different kinds, term insurance, for life insurance, whatever. More important than the type is having the amount that you need. You can always fix the type or change things around at another point in time, but you should all have the amount that you need. So those, I would say, you know, are really important pieces. Making sure that you have your emergency amount in the bank, really important. Don't spend everything. You know, if you're making good money, make sure you set some money aside. You got to think forward down the road, that rainy day, eventually retirement's going to happen. Kids are going to have to go to college. You know, things are going to change. And believe me, I mean, man, life passes you by. Diego, I don't know how old your daughter is now. I've got 3 kids. My oldest is 12.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. You know, you blink your eyes and this is gone. It's crazy. It blows my mind.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's been so weird. Like they're babies, and next thing you know, they're going to high school, you know?
Oh my God. This is crazy.
Like, you know, like you said, I bought life insurance, but I want to talk to you about getting my long-term disability again. And I want to make sure that, you know, I don't let that lapse. And it's good. You know, I want to make sure everything's good for my daughter. And
Absolutely.
You want to feel secure in your livelihood. You make good money. You want to take care of yourself fully. You have peace of mind, basically, you know? So, yeah, man, just want to thank you for coming on. Amazing guy. And just do want to plug in Access Healthcare is going to be having 401k. We're going to be signing off this week or next week on that. So I do want to plug that. We were probably one of the only companies that are in the staffing industry that does that at all. So we just want to make sure you're vested with us. And thanks to Jared, he's able to kick our plan off, you know?
Yeah, 401k is a great benefit to have. Matching, if there's ever matching, you want to take 100% full, you know, whatever contributions you need to get that match is all free money, and it just benefits you. There's, you know, different types of you know, ways that you can contribute to your 401ks using pre-tax money or after-tax money, and it really depends on whether you need those deductions now or if you'd rather have tax-free money later. So, you know, it's definitely a fantastic plan to put in place for people.
Yeah. What do you think, Danielle? We've got a lot of stuff happening this week.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot to be excited about. Jared, thank you so much for being here. I want to know, how can people connect with you? Could they find you on Facebook? Do you have an email or a website? Where can people find you if they're interested in learning more about their financial future?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So what I'll do for now, I'll give you my number. I've had the same number for 20 years. I'm local. I'm in the Jersey, Philadelphia area. I got clients all over the place, all over the country, actually, for that matter. I'm mostly in the tri-state area. My number I'll give you is 646-207-1125. And sometimes emails change, this changes, that changes. My phone number never changes. Diego, you've seen my number for like 20 years almost.
Crazy. I've got the same as well. Yeah, it's only consistent.
You both got the 646.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you for the last minute coming on, and it's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone out there, don't forget to like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, or follow us on Instagram. Hit the little bell below, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget, you need access to get in.
See you next Tuesday.